Welcome to the Podawan podcast. I'm Steve alongside co-host Ali, aka the Podawans, and we're bringing you today the review of Chapter 5 of The Mandalorian Gunslinger. Coming in hot! All right, guys, welcome to our episode 5 review of The Mandalorian. Ali, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it was a good episode. Obviously, we're biased. We do a podcast every day, and we love the show. But but no, I enjoyed it. We're moving right along. Obviously, it was pretty fun to go back to Tatooine, and
Oh,
see some of that
absolutely.
stuff. Yeah, we got some new characters, which I thought were pretty well fleshed out in a one episode kind of series. You know what I mean? The bounty hunter kid I thought was fun, kind of like a young Han Solo, but maybe not with the luck and the you know what I mean, a little dumber, a little more
Oh,
green,
I think way dumber.
but uh, but I got I got the vibe of a newbie just trying to prove himself, which is I think what they were doing, and then obviously Fennec Shan, um, she was cool, you know, I hope it's always one of those things that when you're getting into a show like this, there's going to be characters that are kind of used quickly, and you want more of.
Yep.
And as we get into the review, also, I'm not convinced that she's dead. But if she is, it was a fun episode, and maybe we'll get more like previous stuff in a different series or something. Because obviously, this is after Return of the Jedi, so maybe she'll show up as like a bounty hunter or something in the Cassian series or something. But she was for the little bit that she was in it, it was a ton of fun. My only real
Wow,
complaint with the
throwing out a prediction already.
yeah, well
I'm
yeah,
thinking she's gonna be in the Cassian series.
we'll get into it, but overall, I thought it was fun. I think we're gonna rank it later, but it was good. I'm hoping from the last two episodes, I'm waiting, especially since we only have three left, right, for like
Yep.
more of the plot crescendo, if you will. But you know what I mean? Like as we get into it here, because I feel like the Yoda thing was cool, the Baby Yoda thing was cool, and now we've
Yep.
just kind of been on the run. So I'm kind of waiting for it to get a little more meaning than just him avoiding bounty hunters.
Yeah.
So how'd you feel about it?
I mean, you just touched on a point that I thought. I thought it was a fun episode. I mean, it was a lot of nostalgia. You had obviously Tatooine.
Yep.
You had the Mos Eisley thing. I was
Mm-hmm.
hoping for more Hut reference. You didn't really get that. You just saw the droid. I mean, that was also in the bar. I believe he was in the bar in A New Hope, right?
uh,
So the bartender.
oh, okay. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure
I
he
can
was in.
check. Yeah.
But I mean, there was a couple new alien species reveals that we saw in the episode. Character wise, I was it Tora Calican? I mean,
Toro
how
Calican. Yeah.
original? Yeah, what kind of freaking name is that? I mean,
Well, it sounds like from Lost Stars, the Jellican, right? Was the planet that they grew up on?
I think he mentioned he was from
He says Corellia, but I don't think he said he's
Corellia.
from
Yeah.
Corellia. He just said we're not in Corellia because of the
Well,
speeder bikes, because they're a big like shipbuilding thing. But he could be from. He looks like he's from Corellia with the you know what I mean.
dude,
About
he
with
looks
the
like a
swag and
bum. I
everything.
don't. I don't know. I mean, I just his character was kind of
He
it
reminds
was
me of young Han
the one and
Solo.
done. Yeah, the one and done.
Yeah,
It's
yep,
just it's a character you can just dispose of. So
yeah. I didn't mind him going at the end.
yeah, I mean yeah. Spoilers. No.
It's a review. If
Eh,
you're listening to
eh,
this, you
yeah.
shouldn't be if you haven't watched it.
Yeah, poor kid dies, but it is what it is. The episode overall, yeah, I thought it was a fun episode. There was definitely a lot of build up. I think it's for me. This is so the show itself, and I don't think I've mentioned this before, is that the first season, I think it's a little bit of a slow build up. We don't really have much big plot saying that they're leaving. They're trying to run away from the Bounty Hunters Guild. trying to keep Baby Yoda away.
Right.
There's not much more to it. The very end finally gave a glimpse of like, oh, now we might get that plot thread to kind of get into it. I feel like the show is just following the same course as like other shows do. I mean, I'll compare it to Breaking Bad. First season, there was just a lot of character development and build up, but there wasn't like a huge plot. It was just like, oh, he's a guy, he just makes meth on the side. No big
Right.
deal.
Right.
It's kind of the same thing to me. It's just so if I'm going to be critical, it's falling into that same pattern, but at the same time, it's kind of like this is what's going to engage the audiences to get into the show, and then it's going to drop like this big plot thread and all that. So that's kind
Right.
of so this episode was kind of just more of the same to me, just more of a filler type deal. I mean, it's great, the content's great, all the stuff that we're seeing is awesome. There's a lot of nostalgia. I love it. I'm just saying from like a story standpoint, it's a little bit weak at this point, but it'll get better. Or I hope it gets better.
Yeah, it's been more I think along those exact lines, like you're saying, if we're going to be critical, and we both are enjoying it, but I would say
Yeah.
the critique would be, yeah, exactly that. We have this big plot device and thing dropped in the very first episode at the end of it, which is awesome, right? The Baby
Yeah.
Yoda, and really since then, although we've had some really cool scenes, especially with the Mandalorians, and we have had some fun episodes where we go to Sorgan and see some different alien creatures and see like a little raiding party. You know what I mean? Like we've had some fun stuff,
Yep.
but it definitely feels like at this point, like if I was watching this and had no idea anything about Star Wars or where the show was going, it feels almost like old school like what's Star Trek like Next Generation, where there'd be like 30 episodes in a season. You know what I mean? It feels like we're
It's
just
like
kind of like
yeah.
we're building the character, which is great. So the only thing that I would be critical of, and obviously we're halfway through, so it's like it's not really a critique yet. We'll see when we get to the end, but it feels like we only have 8 episodes, so I really I don't, I don't know the final story, and maybe you only need 3 episodes or 2 episodes to develop it. But it feels like maybe this episode was the one that I thought we were going to start to get into the meat of it. The Sorgan one was the break from it where he's running. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But it feels like this is just kind of another running episode, if you will.
Yep.
Which again, I'm
Yeah,
having tons of fun with it. I'm just saying like I'm ready to like get after it. If we only have 3 episodes left, let's get that. Let's get whatever the big plot thing we don't know. You know what I mean? Let's get that introduced, the big bad, and let's get going.
honestly, it feels like it's yeah, it's one of those it's starting to feel like to me
I wish
this
there
is
was 30
like
episodes. I'd be all in.
oh my god. But like it reminds me of like this is kind of a weird reference, but like Arrow or
Okay,
Agents of Shield, like where
but
they
there's a
have all
hundred
this
episodes a season.
100, yeah, and
Right.
it's just like all this filler, and then like the final 5 episodes is like holy shit, there's this huge plot buildup and the city's gonna melt down and all this shit's going on. And
Right.
I think that's where it's falling into. But I understand that too. I mean, you can't it's not like Game of Thrones was kind of the same way too, because the first season of Game of Thrones was directly from the book and it wasn't
So you had to get there. Yeah. No, I mean,
you kind of
I
had to
get it.
know what was going on.
I do.
But it was yeah, it's so if I'm going to be critical of this episode, it would be that would be it's just another episode, but there's still a lot of cool ass shit that happened in this episode.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, where do you rank this in your episode so far?
I would say fourth out of five. I mean,
Okay.
I'm torn. I think the fourth and the fifth episodes, those two are kind of interchangeable. The only thing I liked more about the fourth was that Cara Dune was introduced,
Yep.
which who knows, that might be her at the very end of that. I doubt it, but that'd be cool. I'm gonna
Yeah. You should go back
someone
and look at like the boots because that's all you see. I didn't even think about that.
yeah, someone at the gym asked me today if it was another Mandalorian, and well, that'd be kind of a cool plot twist.
So I did look a
In
little bit in my when I was putting together like some notes when I rewatched it, and I haven't gone like deep into it, but I did wonder if it was a Mandalorian or something because the only thing that they make obvious is that it's super. He sounds like he has a bunch of change in his pocket, so he sounds
yep,
very like metallic. It's like chainy or whatever. But when he kneels down, he doesn't have knee pads or like like armor. So I don't think it's a Mandalorian. I think again
And
cheating
Cara
because
Dune
we've
had a
seen
lot of armor. She
yeah
had a
some
lot of armor
yeah
on
it could
too.
could be her. I don't
She
think
didn't
it's
have a
her
cape though.
because of the I don't think it's her because the thing again they made the chain like the change sound very obvious and I don't remember her making any noise. So if they're playing up that sound it's going to I think they're you're going to learn that later like when you see him, you know what I mean, him or her.
Yeah,
I think again cheating from knowing from seeing previews and stuff like that. Um I think it's going to be the Giancarlo Esposito character. The Imperial we know that's coming into the to show. So I think he's the
yeah.
big bad, and I think this is how they introduce him. You know,
You know who it's
and
gonna be?
who?
Luke Skywalker.
Yeah,
Imagine
just
that though, if they
chilling out.
actually did.
Why would he have so much change in his pocket?
I don't know, just maybe it's his lightsaber. I have no idea. I'm just saying, like, imagine what would
Just broken
happen
lightsaber.
if it was Luke Skywalker. The Star Wars like fan base would be turned on its head. Everyone would be freaking the fuck out.
Yeah,
They would be
I
like,
feel like people
"What
wouldn't
in the
like that.
world?
I feel like they'd cry about it
Why?
because
He's
that's like
chasing after Baby Yoda, and he needs to know more of the Force." Perfect, right there. Plot line done. We're good.
I
That's
guess
what's gonna happen. It's gonna be Luke. We're done.
perfect season over. Yeah, so I
Yep.
completely agree with you. I have it as fourth as well, right? Basically tied with the fourth episode. The fourth and fifth ones I feel like are very similar. Um,
Yep.
with just slight differences. You know, I think Cara Dune was obviously 75 times cooler than Toro Calican, um, but I thought Fennec Shan was a little more fun than the Klaatuanian Raiders. You know what I mean? So
Oh yeah, absolutely.
personally, I think I got a little more out of Sorgan because it's new, and we had the another bar scene with more aliens than the Mos Eisley scene in episode 5. So I put it slightly below episode 4, but yeah, I would say I think we're both in agreement that like episode 1 and 3 are kind of tied for different reasons. Obviously, episode 1 because it's the first and the Baby Yoda drop is huge, but episode
Yep.
3 with all the action and the Mandalorians coming out at the end, it's tough to beat.
Yeah, you
And then I
can't beat
think we
that.
both put 4, 5 second, and then episode 2, which is just in a weird space because I feel like episode 2 really is just 1A. You know what I mean? Like I feel like
Yeah,
it's an odd episode to stand on its own
yeah,
because
it's
not much
yeah.
happens. Like
It's not a
the
bad
Jawas
episode.
are
It's
like
just
the
like it's
main like enemy, I guess, or main like plot thing in it. So
yeah, it's definitely. I mean,
which I'd
the
take
theme
over
of the
no Star
show.
Wars. Like I'm saying, I've had a
Yeah.
blast. I'm just if you're gonna have to rank them, I think 2 has been the weakest, and I just see it as it's just because it's like really 1A.
Now on nostalgia terms, though, you might put this up there at
Yeah, yeah,
one or
yeah.
two.
Well, I think it definitely it helps out. You know, obviously the Mos Eisley thing is huge. That's cool. Going back to Tatooine,
I
so
just wish there was more with the tattoo. I've just like with the hut stuff. Like,
yeah, my
yeah, Job of the
biggest
Hutt's gone.
I mean super biased because I do the species breakdown and stuff like that, but there were like 5 people in the bar, which
Yeah,
was a
like it was
bummer. I was
weird.
hoping for
Yeah,
like people like in the bounty hunters guild thing. I mean I poured over that footage for hours like looking in the background, you know what I mean?
he had that weird fucking like ant thing. I don't even know
Yeah,
what
I
at the
don't I
bar.
mean I'm going to do a creature breakdown. There's not a ton in this one. I The thing
I
that's
mean, that's a big
interesting from
reveal.
doing those creature things is always like if it's the first time it's been in canon, in live action, excuse me. There's such a obviously there can be such a huge gap in the way something looks when it's drawn in a comic book or in a video game to how they
Yep.
make it in live action. And I talk about this a little bit in the last creature breakdown I did, but it's fun to see because there's gonna be differences in the species too. Like think about how different humans are, or how different some of the animals on our planet are that are in the same species but have totally different sizes, or you know what I mean.
Yeah,
So I think we
absolutely.
get picky when we're going through some of those species and going, well, that can't be this because this is what they look like, and it's like, well, we've only seen one
Well,
of this
yeah.
species, and this guy has
Or we
all the
read it in
main
a book.
markings. You know what I mean? I mean, just think about Twi'leks are a great example. We all like Twi'leks are pretty easy to pick out. But
Yeah.
what was I'm blanking on his name, but Bib Fortuna's brother is in the Partisans in Rogue One. He's like in the background. He looks so different. He looks like a vampire. His Leku are all skinny and weird, and like that's the
Oh,
same thing as these as these the
shit.
ones
I
in
forgot his name.
Mandalorian. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But they're
It's
totally different looking. So if
wasn't there a Twilight with Jabba the Hutt in Return of the Jedi?
yeah, that's his brother. That's Bib
Yeah,
Fortuna.
yeah,
His
yeah,
his
yeah,
brother
yeah,
is
yeah.
in Rogue One, who looks even funkier than Bib Fortuna. But that's
Yeah,
my
so
point. Is this?
he looks like
Yeah,
yeah,
there's going
he
to be
looks like he just came out from the
total
grave.
differences in appearance in the same species. So I've noticed it going through my breakdown. So, anyways, yeah, I think the guy at the bar may be a Verpine. Is my best guess, but we'll see. They can always just be
Verpine.
brand
What the
new
fuck
creatures,
is
you know.
that?
Well, people can look it up. It's an insect-like thing,
Yeah.
and I got nothing on the salamander guy yet, but I'll do that in the breakdown. So let's get into predictions going
Yep.
forward. So where do you think we are and where are we going?
Well, so with the big reveal at the end of the show, well, not big reveal, but it looks like it's someone's going after Baby Yoda and the Mando. So I think the rest of the season is going to be him trying to escape or trying to catch up to Mando and Baby Yoda, and there's probably going to be a couple battles here and there, and
Mm-hmm.
I really hope that I think with that reveal, I hope there's not as much plot filler the next couple episodes. There might be, but I
Mm-hmm.
think it's going to build up to something where he's going to have to confront either the bounty hunter guild or maybe like an imperial faction or something like that the original bounty was for.
Yep.
I think it's going to build up to something like that they're gonna there's going to be some big battle or something between it could be like I said, the imperial faction or the bounty hunter guild again or
Yep.
what's left of it.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think?
Yeah, so again, like I say every time, I feel like I'm cheating because we've seen previews and stuff of
Yeah.
like from before it released, we've seen different scenes and different shots of different characters, but putting it all together, um, the the three big things that I've seen in the scenes that I think kind of color how I think the rest of the season is going to play out is we've seen Grief Karga kind of look with a couple other people in the background look like he was approaching the bounty hunter, the
Yep.
Mandalorian, excuse me, and we've seen flame troopers going into what looks like the armory for the armor. She's sitting down and troopers are coming in behind her. Um, Along with seeing Juan Esposito's character with the Death Troopers, I think basically
Yep.
what's happening here is I think Esposito's character is going to be the driving Imperial behind the client who paid to get the baby Yoda and the scientist, and
Yep.
I think that's who we may see at the end there, looking over Fennec Shan. I think he's searching for the Mandalorian because now he's heard that like he escaped and took the prize or whatever. So I think we're gonna see him basically go back to the Esposito character. He's gonna take his forces and his Death Troopers, go back to Navarro, which that's another thing we'll mention in the mist. That's the Bounty Hunter Guild's planet. So
Yep.
they'll go back to Navarro and wipe it clean. They'll basically kill anyone left, and I think that's when you see the armorer die. She may like have to stay behind, so hopefully some of the other Mandalorians get out, but they come and like wipe out who's ever left, and that's why we see Grief Karga coming back because he's gonna come back and say like to the Mandalorian, "Hey, we've had our differences, you know what I mean, but now this is bigger than the bigger than the differences between us as bounty hunters. Like we need to team up. This guy is like out for vengeance, and we need to get him." So I think that's my
What about the Twi'lek? That scene.
yeah. Well, I
Do you
mean,
think that's gonna be a plot
we're gonna
filler?
meet other characters. Maybe she's another bounty hunter that joins up. Maybe her and Bill Barr are the two that come with Grief Karga. You know what I mean? I think it's gonna be like a
Yeah.
thing where almost Grief Karga calls in bounty hunters to come help. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna be
Yeah.
like because this guy just goes wild, and they're like, "Wait a minute, Imperials are going after us." So I think we're gonna have like a team up of bounty hunters go after Esposito's character, and the Imperials left because I think the Imperials are gonna come and wipe out a bunch of people on Navarro.
What's left of them?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, which would be
Yeah.
cool. So I mean,
Yeah.
I think
I
we
mean,
both have
I
the
look
idea
at
of a big
from
battle coming, which will be fun.
yeah, I look at from just like, you know what, I don't know any of the scenes. So, but like, yeah,
Yeah, yep,
you think it's
yeah,
Esposito's character, and
and those shots
I
and
keep
scenes
forgetting
can be
about that.
not they can be not used. Let's not forget that. That happens all the time.
Oh yeah, they might, including that. Like I
Yeah,
remember the Twilight scene where she's walking away and does the wink, and I'm
she'll
like,
be in
when
it
are we
because
gonna see that?
she was the actress that played the wildling from Game of Thrones that takes Rickon.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yep.
Oh, okay.
Osa, I think her name is in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, OHS, like
Yeah,
OSHA
yeah,
almost.
yep.
I'm like, all right. I did not know that.
All right, so let's get
Interesting.
into things you missed. Do you want to start,
Yeah.
or do you want me to go through few of mine?
I can start. It's actually at the very beginning of the episode.
All
So,
right, let's do it. What do we got?
first thing, if you look at the cast for episode 5, you'll notice that the spaceport operator that Mando talks to on Tatooine is Steve Blum. And for those who are not familiar with that name, he is the voice of Zeb in Star Wars Rebels. He is also the voice of Spike Spiegel in Cowboy Bebop and Megan in Samurai Champloo. So, for you anime fans out there, Cowboy Bebop, I'm a huge fan. So when I saw this credit and I actually watched it again, I was like, oh shit, that's actually him. So that's
Awesome.
pretty cool. And he voiced Zeb in Star Wars Rebels. So like, I actually completely forgot about that. So that was an awesome, just a
Yeah, yeah.
little credit right there.
I did not catch that. But
Yeah.
I did have a little one, more informational than like an Easter egg, but in the credits that I've been watching specifically now, because there's almost always one random character that they name in the credits for some reason, and that I believe that first, this is a guess, but there was I think he's credited as a bounty hunter, Riot Mar, and I think that's the
Yep.
first guy that's chasing him in space, which is pretty cool. So it's just like an information thing that guy had a
Yeah.
name.
Yeah. Rio Hackford.
That was a guy's name
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
played
That
him.
was the guy's name.
Yep,
Yeah.
and it was Riot
Oh,
Mar, right? Was the character's name?
yep.
Yeah,
Yep. Riot
that's pretty
Mar.
cool.
Yeah. It was a small cast. There was only 7 people. So I'm just fine. It's cool.
Yeah, they didn't
Um,
need much. So I have a bunch of stuff. Do you have any more that you missed, or do you want me to start kind of listing some
um,
of them?
uh, I didn't, yeah, there wasn't really much after that. I mean, for me, besides the obvious, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, you can dive into what else you have.
yeah. I just have some fun ones. Like obviously the droids that the Moss Eisley Bay 35 operator uses are pit droids from like the prequels that were big on the pod racer mechanics,
Yep.
basically.
Yeah, a little bit
Um,
throwback to the old trilogy
yep.
or prequel, sorry.
Yep, Fennec Shan mentions Navarro, which ends up being the planet that we were on first with the Bounty
Oh,
Hunter Guild. That's cool.
yeah, I was gonna mention that. Yeah, I caught that too.
Yeah,
That
that
was
was a good one because that we kept calling it the Bounty Hunter Guild planet, and obviously there's a Bounty Hunter Guild everywhere. But you know what I mean. It's good to have a name now,
yeah, it kind of ties up some
which
of the
we
loose
probably
ends. So,
completely missed. I bet that was somewhere before we even started. I feel like they probably
oh no,
mentioned it back at like Star Wars Celebration or something.
so the chick that actually I guess I got one more. The chick that plays that Fennec Shan
Yeah, from
is
Agents of
Ming Na
Shield,
Wen.
right?
Yeah, she's
That's
from
what I
Agents of
saw her
Shield.
first. Yeah.
And then she's in Mulan,
Okay.
the live action, I believe. I actually, I don't want to say I had a problem with her character in a sense for this episode, but she plays like the same kind of character every time. I mean, like in Agents of Shield, she kind of plays like a merc, and then like becomes a good guy or whatever. And then in this, it's the same thing. It's like, except she's not a good guy, obviously, but um,
Yeah, I find it.
it's kind of,
That's why I like. I hope she's
yeah.
still alive, and she's probably not. But I, I find it so tough to use that trope of a character in a one episode thing, because here's the problem: you like he says like, oh, like to the kid, like you're going after her, you'll be dead before you know what I mean, like before it even
There's
starts, because she's such a
there's all this
badass,
build up for nothing.
right? And in one episode, like if you're going to kill that character off, it's so hard to make them a badass. You know what I mean? Because you're gonna kill him. So
Yeah,
like eh,
I mean, it's a
that's
cool
the
fight
only.
scene.
Yeah, yeah. No. I loved it. I just it's one of those things that's like the Mandalorian kind of looks at him and goes like, dude, I wouldn't even go after her. She'd kill me. And then they like you know, and then he teams up with a dummy and they just catch her. Like, and it's You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
get that it had like that's the way that the episode went, but it's always find those characters really tough to get behind because it's like that she was such a badass assassin, and then in a 10-minute span, a dummy and the main character just take her out. You know what I mean? And it was fun, but you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's always tough to like talk someone up that much that's been such a pain, like or such a badass that no one can capture and all this stuff. And then in like one episode, the first episode that we even hear mentioned, she's captured and killed. It's like, that's I wish we had more of her. That's all. So that's why I kind of hope she's alive. I did
Yeah, I
notice
don't think
that
she's alive,
I
but
have to go back and fact check a few things, but in the bounties on most of the bounty pucks we've seen, um, I think the highest to this point was 5,000 credits or 5,000 whatever, like it has the credit symbol. She was worth
yep.
10. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, she's been the highest bounty by a lot. So that was like a pretty expensive puck.
So then that makes your point right there. It's like, all
Right,
right,
she's a
she's the
badass.
biggest friggin' bounty so far, and she dies because some moron friggin' and
Yeah.
Mando. Nothing wrong with Mando, but
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just
I
like,
know. It's
wait,
more the way he reacts to it. Kind of like he kind of
yeah.
makes it sound like, dude, I wouldn't even take that.
I kind of was watching the episode that douchebag or killed on the way over or something, like when they got on the speeders and stuff. I was
Yeah.
like, I was actually almost praying that because I was like, this guy is such a fucking loser. So sorry, whoever plays Toro, my bad,
Yeah, no,
but
it's not
your
the
character
actor.
sucked.
Yeah, it's just like it's the character. Yeah.
Just
I
but
thought these are some like more things that only people obsessed with canon would care about. But I thought a few cool. I think things they were hinting at, I guess is the best way to say it. I think it was funny. This is why I was stuttering at the droid serving the drinks. So I'll have to go back and check because the big thing in A New Hope when they go into that is no droids allowed. Remember? Like
yeah,
he makes R2 and C3PO stay outside because it's a no droids allowed place. And then I thought that was funny that like now the bartender is are droids. So I thought that was kind of like a tongue in cheek way of saying like that guy, no droids and now the droids run it and you're fired. So
yep,
I thought that was kind of funny. Um I also noticed a little foreshadowing. I just think some good writing is that the Mando when he's talking to Toro, he says after he tells him who he's chasing or whatever, he's like, "Oh, you won't make it. You won't make it past sunrise." And I think it's interesting that basically when Toro,
oh yeah,
yeah,
I didn't think about
at
that.
sunrise is when Fennec tells him, like, tries to convince him to go after the Mando, and that's when he kills her, which pretty much signs his death warrant. Not that he was along for the world anyway, the way he was bounty hunting, but I think that was like a creative nod to like the Mandalorian saying like you won't make it past sunrise, and that's at sunrise is when he turns and basically gains the Mandalorian as an enemy. So I thought that was kind of cool. Um,
Yep,
Another couple little things. Toro is flipping like a coin with a starbird on it, which is the rebel sign when he
yep,
talks to the Mandalorian at first, and then obviously we get some Tusken Raiders, a dewback, um, and the which is fun, just fun to see.
yeah, and I mean they got on speed bikes too and went across
Yep,
Tatooine. I mean, like I said, the nostalgia factor in this episode
yep. Oh,
definitely
and the
one or
banthas.
two.
Yep, the
Yep.
banthas that he sees on the binocs. Yep. I also
Yeah.
did. There was nothing super interesting, unless I'm missing something and we can figure it out later. I did the nerdy thing and froze the screen on Riot Mars and the Mandalorian's screens on their ships, just to
Yep.
see if anything interesting was written in Abaresh, the Star Wars alphabet or whatever, and it just kind of standard stuff like locking and flight mode or whatever. And then I tried to do it on Fennec Shan's sniper rifle too, because there was a bunch of writing on the side, and that one didn't really have anything interesting. It just seemed like maybe one setting was tracking and one setting was attack because they were like 3-letter codes. So maybe
Yeah.
something in the future that someone breaks down, because there was one that was cycling through, but it was cycling through like a 3-letter code, and the codes were like RSJ, MSJ, MNJ, MNK, MND or something like that. So I looked at it and it didn't jump out at me as anything important. So who knows?
Yeah.
We'll probably find out
Yeah,
later.
we'll
It's
see.
like the key to the entire episode. But
Yeah, we'll see.
yeah, so that I think that was pretty much everything that I saw. I'm just taking a quick look at my notes. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. I thought it was fun. I
Yeah.
mean, it was more just centered around their little adventure. So there weren't a ton of characters, like you said, and it
Nope.
was just a nice little bit of nostalgia from from Tatooine, and we moved the story kind of to the point where I think we're gonna get what we're looking for. You know what I mean? I think it has to start next episode.
Yeah, I would hope so. I mean, overall, yeah, great episode. Just builds on to the character. Saw a little more Baby Yodi. He was cute.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, can't complain. I definitely like this episode. So, um, all right. So
yeah.
I
That's
think
it.
this wraps it up.
Yep.
All right. So hope you enjoyed our episode 5 review of The Mandalorian. Make sure to subscribe to our streaming services. We're on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and SoundCloud. Or check out our YouTube channel. We just put out a couple new videos. We the first book review of Phasma. So if you don't have a Phasma's kind of a character with not a lot of information in the movie. So if you've been kind of wondering about that character, check out the book review. It gives a little more detail into that. It's spoiler free, so that's up on our YouTube channel, and dropped a species breakdown of episodes 2 through 4, and he's probably going to be right behind that with 5 and 6, I'm sure, shortly.
Yep.
And that will give a lot more detail into all the species that we're seeing in the show, all the nostalgia, all the throwbacks to all the different, all the different species. It's really awesome. So make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, and you'll be seeing a lot more content on there as well. So
Yeah.
hope you
Let
enjoyed the
us.
episode, guys. Oh,
Yeah.
what were you saying?
Just let us know what we've read. Pretty much all the books and stuff. So let us know if there's a certain book you'd like reviewed, or any canon or non-canon stuff that you'd find interesting us to do a video about.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys.
Take it
Hope you
easy.
enjoyed the episode. Later.
Later.